the kind of thing I'm after. Oh, beautiful stuff. There you go. Oh, there's another one. Come here, buddy. Oh, look at that. You want to send it deep in there. Mate, he is a chunk of a jack. Thicker, it's heavy through the guts. Look at that thing. Hope you're enjoying this video. It's a longer form video, I know, but I just really wanted to put the whole piece of the puzzle together with some action as well, where it's not just edited highlights in and show you, just keep that camera rolling and show you what it's all about. What a beauty, eh? Welcome back to another mylurebox video. In this video we're skip casting chasing mangrove jack. I've got a soft plastic lure with a weighted worm hook and a bait caster, and I'm going to take you through everything that you need to know and some of the tactics and skills to get your skip casting going and hopefully get onto some yourself. This is the craziest style of fishing. Late afternoon, let me show you these mangrove lined banks. It's a heap of fun and a real challenge for your fishing if you want to learn how to skip cast. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep the camera rolling as best as I can, show you just some of the tactics, some of the lure options, and exactly how to do it, so that you can, next time you go out there, you can get the conditions right, put the pieces of the puzzle together, and hopefully get onto some fishing like this yourself. This is a hell of a lot of fun. Super challenging and frustrating at times, but the rewards, if you can get the fishing to come on, are just insane. So that's what we're going to do this afternoon. My min coder's playing up like all buggery, which is getting frustrating, but I can work with that. I'll just slow it right down, super stealthy, and get firing into these edges. Hopefully you can see some of this. I can see the sun sort of shining right into the camera, and you're going to cop a little bit of that because we've got the sun just going down. These shadows are really important for jack fishing, and I'm constantly looking into that sun all the time as a jack fisherman, because you're trying to look into the shadows that are being cast over. So this is the perspective that I'm always trying to create. We've got a run out tide and it's late in the afternoon, so two pieces of the puzzle coinciding can help with the bite period. You want the run out because you can see those roots. All the bait gets up in those root systems, and as the tide pushes in, they go in, all the bait and the jacks go right up deep into those root systems and feed hard on the crabs, the shellfish, the shrimp, all the little bait. They get up in there and feed hard up on the new mud, and then as it recedes, the jacks sit on the edge and get pushed out to the edge, and the bait then follows, and that's the feeding time for the jacks. So if you can get late afternoon or early morning with that run out tide, it's fire. This is exactly the kind of stuff that you're looking for, where you've got these edges and some intermittent sort of like sparsely jutting out structures as well, and they're the ones that I target the most. So things like that, where you can bring it out through the edge, these pockets where it shoots out, that's what you're looking for. I'll go through some of the tactics on how to retrieve the lure, how to cast it, and your settings and everything, to try and help you get going if you haven't done this before, because this is nuts, this style of fishing. It's got to be one of my favourites. I've been seeing the comments on my channel just recently with some of my videos with these uploads, and I can see people are loving it, loving trying to get into it. So going to be a bit more of this stuff come this season, I reckon, to help you get onto some yourselves. So you don't have to skip every cast. It just becomes a bit of a routine practice for me. So you could certainly fire that in. I don't, that's not getting in underneath anything really, but it just becomes a bit of a habit that if you're doing it constantly in the session, it just helps you get into that routine, and then when you need it, you've got it and you fire it in and it's really well dialed in. But you certainly don't have to be skipping it every cast. Ideally you want a weedlessly rigged plastic, I'll give you a look, where the hook's pointing up, and that helps with your hook up rate. But if you're just learning, you want to send it straight right down in and try and get it sort of flush with that bait, just so you're not catching deep up in the mangroves. And I'd suggest one of these things too. This big pigtail, extendable, with a pigtail on the end if you're firing deep into the mangroves. It's like a lure retrieving pole, and pretty sure Wilson make them. I've bought other ones in the past, but that's where I got the last one, from Wilson. And the good tackle stores stock them, I'm pretty sure. I got mine sent up from Mo Tackle years ago. But that's a great piece of equipment, because when it's really deep you can't get in there. It's a punish, you end up losing lures. Right, this looks the goods. You can see sort of overhanging dark stuff. Let's see what happens here. That's exactly the kind of thing that you want. You want to be sending it deep in there. And then depending on the bite, which I'm literally just started, so I'm trying to work it out. It can be a slow roll, or you can speed it up and burn it back with some stalls. But basically, what you want to be doing is getting that paddling tail going as soon as you can. It doesn't necessarily have to be fast, but you want it going pretty quick once you get him in there. You don't want it to just sink down unnaturally and hit the bottom. You want it going fizz fizz, trying to get in and out. Try this other side for a second. And this is super shallow in here, like depth for me has, where's my motor wigging out? Depth for me has been a real eye opener with skip casting and jacks, because you don't need the super deep drop-offs and things that you would have predicted with jack fishing, that they're synonymous with deep holes, rock drop-offs and things like that. They are right up in the shallows this time of day, and hugging into the shadow sections in these overhangs, and they only need enough water to cover their back. Great little section here, all these mangrove roots poking out. Just fishing that first metre of water and then coming out. Some afternoons it's a little bit different, where there might be sections where there's a second drop off to the bank or whatever, and you can drop it down that or sit it in there. But I'm hammering this afternoon just for the time, so I'm gonna fizz in, give it a metre and a half, and rip it back out. See, I sort of overshot it there and jumped it over one of those little twigs. Just efficiency wise, like when you're trying to get heaps of casts in really fast, hit everything, which is what I try to do with one of these sessions. You don't want to reef it straight back out. You can fondle it and fold it over the little mangrove roots really softly like that with your rod tip, and that keeps you in the strike zone. It doesn't spook everything, and you don't get snagged up as bad. So just getting soft and working out how to, you know, get your lure back from an overcast or a snagged section is really important. And that's part of, I suppose, as you develop your skip casting game, you'll learn some of those little things. Even pinging, if you're snagged, ping, like popping it like that is really useful if it's on like a hard log or a rock. These root systems just are super catchy and hard to get out of, especially those little pneumatophore roots. They're really difficult to pull a lure out of without going in there. I'll bring you back around here. So that's interesting, because I would have thought with what I'd fired in there, I would have had some interest already. I'm just going to send this down here. Hopefully we can get further down. Try a new section. Might just put a little, while we're hammering, I'm going to put a little bit of scent on. So I've had some sun cream on the salve, whatever. And I'm just trying to cover ground, I'm just trying to cover as much ground as I can and fire as many casts in as I possibly can. And I'm looking for those fish that are feeding, like the ones that are fully psyched, they're feeding, they're cooking, ready to go, and that's part of the appeal, because the takes that you get are just horrendous, just real, like a lightning bolt, just get right to your backbone. You feel it the whole way through your body. It's epic. Yeah, so any little twig that's sort of poking out further out off the edge, it's all money. Like the jacks, if they stack up in a zone, absolutely everything is worthwhile. And the deeper the better. Like as deep as you can get that lure, that's where you want it in. And the lures you want are the lures, the paddle tails, that get working straight away and are really busy in their tail. So Fish Arrow J shads, my Eco Gear bolts, some of the Storm 360 GT coastals. Diesel minnows are money if you can get the right jig heads for them for skipping. Like they've got to be one of the best around regardless. Part of what you've got as well with the tide on the run out, you've got dirtier water too, which is great for the jacks. They want that dirty discoloured water. Super clear waters just doesn't really get them going. They're too timid. They come up and look at your lure and take off often. That's what I've found. Oh, there it goes. Big boil. It's game on. True style, just kook it straight away. Come on, come back again. Oh, mate. That's it, just missed my shot. Oh, sometimes the hookup rate, depending on how they're feeding, the hookup rate isn't tremendous. It's not as good as a diving lure, that's for sure, but what you can do with these skipping lures, just had another one come up at it, what you can do with these skipping lures is, miles in front with this type of cover. Don't want to pull it in too tight to the, I've got it, just that little, just ripping at it, like tink, just got it off the log. That means you don't go in and wreck the spot too, which is massive if you've got your favourite spot coming up and you get a snag first time, you want to be able to get it off. Yep, got it. Oh, that's the kind of thing I'm after. That's textbook. Alright, I'm not sure if you got to see that with the angle of the camera because I've been changing sides. It's not massive, but it's a beautiful little jack all the same. Take a look at this. That is what I'm after. And the take from, it doesn't matter how big they are, the take is always the same. It is just ruthless. Hard hitting. Oh, what a beauty. Boy, it's nice to get it done like this, late afternoon. Alright, I'm going to get this one back in the water. And keep it going because I want a bigger one. When I'm using these grips aren't ideal for these fish, but because of their teeth, I'm not getting anywhere close to them, and I'm trying to get these hooks out. So I just hold them really, really loosely so that it doesn't go puncturing all their flesh and that sort of thing. If you're going to catch and release your fish, you want to release them in as good a condition as you possibly can. Right, so that's the lure that's done it. He's only a small fish, but yeah, he's good. He's ready to go. Off you go, buddy. Let's keep going. Right, bring you around here. We'll try on this side for a bit. So hopefully you're picking up that I'm not really using the Minn Kota as much, all that much. I'm just trying to, half speed it, push us back into position. But most of it is just drifting through the system, and if it's with the tide or the wind, just try and work it out so we can get it done where I can. Because that stealth is massive, I reckon. It's only shallow, and the bait spooks on, the bait spooking. The jacks are super wary, even compared to the mullet right at the surface. The jacks are fully dialed in, they know what's going on. So if you want a chance, you've got to be really, really quiet, I reckon, in this tiny stuff. There's a big fish parked up there. I don't know if you saw it, or maybe on the chest cam you might have seen it. Just missed a beast. Spooked him. Should have landed it on his head. That was a big 50. 50 something. Right at the entrance to a drain, which is no surprise. So hopefully this has given you an idea. Like, it's heavy cover, but it's pretty smooth. So you've got a little bit of grace, apart from some of these, like there's barnacles on there, but you've got a little bit of grace because it's all covered. So if your line's grabbing and rasping on there, you're actually a chance to get it back out. So I usually run with like a 20-pound line, like a fluorocarbon leader of about 20 pound, and that tends to get most of them out up to 50, early 50s and that sort of thing. And I just use FC Rock 20 pound, but if you're running 30 pound in this dirty water, it shouldn't make too much of a difference, and you've got a bit more insurance there. But anything less than that, if you get those bigger fish, you're in real trouble, I reckon. I'll just come around here. We're going to keep fishing this side, so I'll see if I can show as much of it to you as I can with the camera. So just on that half a speed, taking it super slow. My drag's fully dialed, like as high up as I can go, and then test it out at the end of my rod. I've got a feel for it now, but that's the kind of thing that you want. You don't want to go in here undergunned with your drag, because they'll just rip you deep and then run laps through all the mangrove roots, and you won't get them out. It'll take you half an hour, and most of the time they end up getting off. You sometimes get super lucky. But you want that heavy drag. Yep. Oh, there we go. There it is. And that's why you need it. That's a good fish. Oh, beautiful stuff. There you go. Oh, there's another one. Come here, buddy. Oh, look at that. He has caned that. And that's a good fish. He's in that 400 range. It's epic, eh? It's so fast the way it happens once that lure's in there and they grab it. Oh God. Side of the jaw, which is ideal. There's some soft sort of fleshy stuff there. Okay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Look at those colours, eh? Aren't they just stunning? You know, and sometimes you get them in and they're that dark red. It's the same thing. They're the same jacks. It's all the same. They can change their colours like that. And geez, they're beautiful. Just depending on how they're feeling, they can change them or where they're trying to match. That one's a nice silver colour. Oh, I'm hoping if you've stuck this out so far, this video, you're starting to get a feel for how nuts this is and how worthwhile it is to go chasing jacks with skip casting gear. It doesn't always happen like this. You pull 2 in like 20 minutes. It's nowhere near the case. Like I put in sessions and I get as many donuts as everyone else. I've got to guarantee that, tell you that, because it's there's a lot of casts in jack fishing regardless. Don't care what anyone says. If you're casting for jacks, there are a lot of casts in jack fishing. But doing it as a skip casting technique and that sort of thing, I think it increases your hits. And mate, it's a huge challenge. Like I said earlier, it's a massive challenge to keep that skip casting going, get into a trance state almost. You know, good conditions, you can almost feel like you're in a trance. Fizz, it's nuts. You dial right in every cast. You're like, your consciousness is on the end of that line. It's that lure and you're feeling it. Alright, what I might do, I might talk through the settings on the reel and how to dial it in and your technique and that sort of thing. If you're just new to bait cast fishing, don't be in too much of a hurry to get your skip casting going, because it really is that next level of like technique. And what you really want to be doing first is dialing in just your regular casting and then getting a feel for loosening your brakes off. Because to get your skip casting going, your reel wants to be really loose in terms of the braking systems that you've got. So you've got 2 braking systems. That one is the like the pin, like the spool control, which as you screw this little one down on the side, it puts tension on your spool. There's a pin that hits that little plate there. So you want that not entirely off, just enough so there's a little bit of tension there, so it just keeps the spool in place, so it's a really smooth cast the way that the spool runs. And then ideally you don't want any brakes on, but to get to that point you need to go like I might have 1 or no brakes on, but I started skip casting with 2 brakes on, and all I was doing initially was just trying to cast low into the snag. And when you first start with your bait caster and you're doing that and you're casting low into the snag, if you've got 3 brakes on or 2 brakes on, then the reel will slow that up for you, and you don't have to thumb it. But the key to the whole thing with skip casting, my thumb is getting a workover. All right, you can. That's bleeding there. My thumb is getting a workover. So every single cast, I'm feathering it in with my thumb. The whole thing, from the moment it first hits the water with that skip, it's me with my thumb, not the reel slowing things up. So that's it. You have your thumb on the spool when you cast. You don't just lift it off and let the reel do everything. I do basically everything with my thumb. To slow the lure up and to get that distance right, to get the slow down on the skip right, so it's still fizzing in. So it's definitely a feeling thing. And And that's probably the biggest reason why I can get accuracy in terms of distance with basically every cast, because every cast as it's going in there, I'm slowing it down on the way into the snag. And then as you get better, you can fizz it in quicker and get really direct. But, oh, just got wrecked. Big boil. Come on, come back. You felt the hooks, mate. Just got ruined. That was a big, oh, he's there, he's still there. That was a bigger jack. That was a solid fish. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, Jackie boy. Come on, Jackie boy. Mate, I can't even hold it together. Trying to put a video together when the sun's going down. It's impossible. Jack fishing, making YouTube videos, impossible. Not 2 videos while you're actually doing it. It's stupid. Oh my god, that was a bigger fish. I'm snagged. So frustrating when you're getting snagged when it's a game on. Mate, look how deep it is. There it is. It's a foot deep. Right there where that beast just smacked me, and he would have been up around that 50. Doesn't have to be hellishly deep. His motor is doing my head in. Gotta get it fixed. You don't want noises like that when you're out here doing this. Those deep bumpy noises are just killer for a little section like this. Okay, before I got rocked by that big one, I think I was talking to you about the casting technique and what you want to do with your settings. So you want to be using your thumb all the time, but as you're getting used to it, just start, when you're using your bait caster, start with your brakes a little bit higher up. And as you get better, just start to relieve the brakes off. Still happens to me, eh? Still happens. I know how to pick them out real quick now, but you're still going to get birdies. It's not like it doesn't ever happen. But you want to start off pretty heavy and then work your way to freeing your spool up, so that you end up being in full control all the time, and it's your thumb that's doing it. It's not the reel that you're relying on. So I've had to play with the DCs, those direct control or whatever they are by Shimano, where they really help you. I enjoy doing it by hand, so I haven't gone and got them, even though, you know, I've seen them sort of advertised for the way they can help you with your longer casts and your skip casts. When I had a go, I just felt they were too noisy for me, and I love having a freed up reel that I can feather myself. So I don't think necessarily just getting a DC is the way to go to skip casting. It's more about practicing heaps and starting to free your spool up, and starting with those lower casts. It's easier when you're lower in a boat, like this is a little crab and tinny, so I'm lower, which makes it easier. You're in a raised seat in a kayak, that's money, really good way to do it. Past there, but there's something after it, and I just hit a log, so it stopped. Right, so hopefully that's given you some idea on the settings. I've done more videos on this stuff, so if you type in mylurebox and skip casting and you binge on some of this stuff, it's going to, you know, a lot of the stuff I cover differently in different videos, or, you know, touch on things a couple of times. It might be worth you just checking out some of those other videos that I've done on, you know, what settings, skip casting 101, that sort of stuff, if you haven't already. Because while I'm just fishing and thinking off the top of my head as I'm going on what I'm doing, definitely going to miss some stuff. Now the rod's really important. I've spoken about that I think on basically every one that I've done, and it comes down to personal preference. The guys in America use a longer rod for their skipping, but for me, oh Jesus, did you see that? Come on buddy, come back. Come back, no. Stupid, crazy stupid. How can I even talk? Wrong time to do a how to skip cast video. I just wanted to prove it to you, show you how nuts it is. Can't hold my stuff together. It's crazy. Jack came out and slammed me. So I use 510, right? So 510 medium action, a little bit light in the tip, right? And that helps you load the tip up so that you can really fling it in, skimming it in. So when I'm throwing it in low with the lure tracking just above the water, it's getting a real bend about it, and it's flinging in. So that action on the rod, the loading up, allows it to fling. Super effective, and that's what you need. We've got to keep fishing, mate. I'm frothing here. And generally, I'll just keep moving the whole time. But when you get a section like this, and depending on how far back the water is, you can kind of call the jacks out by a couple of extra casts on a point like this, where you know, surely there will be something in here. Maybe it's going to take a little bit of calling out to get them to come out. So you're skipping and that sort of thing. It's like a really natural sound of, you know, prawns and mullet skipping and that sort of thing. There's a boil. There's something there. Something's come up and hit me behind. I missed it. Come on. There's another boil there. Look at it. Mate, they're after it. They're just not hitting. They're missing it. For whatever reason, they're missing it completely. Yep, got it. Oh, it's a good one. Oh, deep in there. Oh. Come here, buddy. About a foot of water too. Oh, this is just nuts. Oh, beautiful stuff. Have a look at this. Right on sunset. Have a look at the conditions. Isn't it gorgeous? Beautiful big jack. Have a look. Here you go, buddy. Look at that. Come here. Mate, he is a chunk of a jack. Thicker, it's heavy through the guts. Look at that thing. Hope you're enjoying this video. It's a longer form video, I know, but I just really wanted to put the whole piece of the puzzle together with some action as well, where it's not just edited highlights in and show you, just keep that camera rolling and show you what it's all about. What a beauty, eh? Losing light, so I don't even know how much of this you're going to be able to see. But he's easily a legal fish. He's probably around that 40 mark. Good buddy. And I'll just talk you through a little bit more of the tactics, you know, what I'm thinking about as I'm doing it. I'm trying to give you everything I've got and share as much as I can with you, because I'm always trying new areas and new spots, and it is tough going most of the time. I've hit a great little afternoon here. So don't think that I'm getting 3, 4, 5 fish every time I come out skip casting. But you know, I'll keep trying to share some stuff with you, because it's hard going, and there's a lot of days where you just have to keep considering different things. So that's why I've tried to keep the camera rolling. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts as well in the comments, or things that you might think might work as well. It's not just paddle tail shad lures like this. I was flicking earlier today. I flicked a little squidgy like paddle tail prawn, and I reckon they're going to be fantastic doing it with this. Like these are just my favourites, and I'm used to them. Which is a big part of it, is having that weight on the lure that you're used to, so you're comfortable with your casting and confident in, not just confident in the lure because it catches fish, but confident in your cast, so you're getting right into areas that are, you know, where you want to get to. You're not having to change weights and things like that, and having to work out a new lure all the time. So as much as I love testing lures, a lot of the time I keep falling back to, you know, my serious sessions when I'm trying to film and get numbers and not just do a review. I'm using lures that I'm really consistently casting, and I know them inside out, sort of thing. So that's one thing to consider. It's just, you know, not necessarily trying to jump through lures all the time, but just find a couple that you're confident in and you get used to that weight. The way that I'm thinking about this, because my reel is freed up and I've got used to letting that reel just be free with, you know, one or no breaks, and it all being in my thumb, say that, we get a birdie. I feel like I'm right on the lure, and my consciousness is sitting in that paddle tail as I'm bringing it in. That's how honed in I am on every cast, and you can only really get that feel if you get to the point where you can loosen the brakes off. So that's the journey of getting there. And then once you skip casting, it's like, you know, if throwing a hard-bodied lure with trebles to the outside of the edges of these mangroves is like knocking on the door for Jack. Skip casting is like bursting down the door, breaking, entering, heading to the back room and asking him if he's ready to rumble. It's like super aggressive power style fishing, and that's why you get that reaction bite, just so aggressive. You're in their home, their lair, or you know, they are a territorial fish, and I've seen them bite at other jacks. They're super territorial, and just nose other jacks and that sort of thing. So they're a really aggressive fish when they want to be, obviously, and sending a bait deep into their hole, that's why it happens so fast. Almost too fast for you to get your bail over. Right, I'll try and bring you around so you can capture it. Hopefully this is still capturing some of the footage, because there's barely any light left in it. I'm going to have to call it soon. But it's been brilliant, like 3 jacks in about 45 minutes, right on money time. Like I picked my moment to run this session for sure, because I just had those couple of things, had that dirty water, it's been a hot day, late afternoon run out tide. It definitely gets better than this too. Like, this isn't the best session I've had on skip casting late afternoon. It can get crazy, where you feel like every single good snag has got a jack sitting on it. But you just got to spend time on the water and get lucky with those ones, because I don't know what they are. I try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Moon phases, bloody barometer, water temperature. I try to put it all together and I still can't work it out, but you just got to be on the water for those ones when it pulls off like that. The worm hooks, they're really hard to get the weighting right, and in other videos I've talked about these Savage Gear manic shrimp that I use to get the hooks out of. I'm going to start making my own to try and get them right, because I'm not happy with it. And what I might start doing is, if I'm making my own, I might start putting packs together for people that are getting into it, because it's there's a lot of little subtleties with the weight, I think, that makes a big difference. And depending on the type of plastic you're using too, you want to vary it up. Like I'm constantly like adding weights or taking weight off, like getting my pliers and ripping weight off, or wrapping solder around the weight itself as well to add some weight depending on the type of plastic I'm using, and not trying to wreck the action of the plastic by doing too much. So I think I'm gonna try and put some stuff together for people who are interested in it. Aussie clock getting belted, eh? Right folks, we're out of light. I've got my Bunnings light here just to capture the last of this. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos and learning something or being inspired to get out and start skip casting or chasing mangrove jack. It's insane fun and I've been doing it for a long time now. I love it, and I'm hoping that some of these videos can inspire you to get after it or just get after any fish that you love chasing with lures. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.